Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inspiration Morning Live. And I want to say Happy New Year. My kitty wants down now. Of course, he's crying like a fool before I started one. But hey, I want to say thank you for joining me. This is number 120, and it is my first one of the new year. And, I've just been doing some changes in my life because of the new year coming around. And so I hope you have too. And I hope you had a happy new year. Hope you had some wonderful holidays. And for this Inspiration Morning Live, I wanted to talk about compassion. And I decided that yesterday when I realized, it's Friday, it's first Friday of the new year. And that's what I'm going to talk about. And then when I was out today, I was out at the Starbucks, and what happened was there was a police officer who was killed on the line of duty. I think it was right before the new year or the first. Anyway, his funeral procession went by the Starbucks that I was at, and they stopped all the roads, and there was going to be no way in and out, and so a lot of people just stayed there. And I went to the back window and took a look, and I saw all the people stopped, and there was one woman who was next to me who was just bawling her eyes out, and it drew up a lot of something in her, of mourning in her. It drew up, just something, and so I thought, okay, talking about compassion today is going to be a really good thing, and maybe putting compassion in the new year. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining me. And I'm a little chilly. I just got home, and I wanted to do this while it's still morning somewhere in the States. But nonetheless, I wanted to talk about compassion because, it was easy to look at the woman who was moved, who brought up some sort of grieving in her when she was crying. And then I overheard a guy talking about how, he was kind of stuck because that's the way it was, is the way they had things. And, he wanted out of there. And he thought, isn't just, the people he worked with enough? Why did it was like an hour, 2 hour of a parade of first responders behind him. And for me, I thought, well, maybe that was what it brought up in him. Maybe it brought up a little anger in him. Maybe it didn't bring up the tears, and maybe that's how it was coming out. And so I thought to myself, let's have the compassion with the people who either can't give it right now, don't know that they're being, without compassion right now, or they just don't know how to, or they don't know what they don't know. And so I thought, today even more, it is good to talk about compassion and compassion that we have for others in our lives. And, compassion is different. Compassion doesn't always have to be overt. Compassion doesn't have to be always something that it starts with yourself, I truly believe. And when you can have compassion with yourself, then you can give it to others. And I also thought, when I was talking to the lady who was crying, I was like, I didn't put my arms around her, and I should have put my arms around her, but I didn't. And, and then I listened to a few other people's reactions, and I realized that, the compassion really starts with me. And I had to have the compassion to overlook whatever the guy who was cranky. So there was such a long procession, and he was stuck where he was, and he wasn't going to be able to get to his meeting. And I don't know what the consequences were of his not making his meeting, or whether they would have listened to, hey, here's where I'm stuck because of the police officer or the deputy who, his funeral procession. I just don't know. But I thought it's good to have compassion. And going into 2018, compassion with yourself, starting with yourself. I know I was willing to give it to others. And it took me a while after I saw that guy who was angry to think, okay, I need to have compassion for him. I couldn't say anything to him. I didn't want to, because that's what he was feeling in the moment. But it took me like an hour later to realize I needed to have compassion towards him. And maybe that was the best he could do in the moment. And, sometimes that's maybe the best that we can do. And then I realized, I was going to talk about giving compassion to one another today, but I think, in starting within yourself and within the new year being a new thing. For me, I ended last year with some big changes in my life. And I am changing the work that I do, and I am changing, how I make a living. And, I'm just taking on some new things, and it's hard. It's not easy. And I realized I have to have some compassion with myself. And it has to come from me. It cannot come from anyone else. My going forward in something new, of course, I understand it can't come from somebody else. It has to come from me. But the compassion of realizing, yes, there's going to be some bumps in the road. Yeah, it's going to be hard. That is what needs to come from me. And I need to find it within me. And even if I just take a minute to take some deep breaths and to think about it, then that's what I need to do. And maybe I'll build up more and more of compassion for myself and compassion for others as the year goes by. But I really want to put it into this year that's what I want to do. That is going to be the crux of my year, because when I can have compassion with myself and others, it just kind of makes for a better life. And it doesn't mean things are going to be perfect or things are going to be nice. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to have my feelings hurt, or, all of the other things that change when you have a little bit of compassion with yourself. So enough about compassion, but what does compassion mean to you? What does the compassion, how do you have compassion with yourself, and how do you show yourself compassion? That's what I want to ask you. I want to say thank you to all of those who are here today. I see we've had a number of people come by, and I've been away. I have been away. I used to do this daily. That's where we're up to number 120. We're up to the first one of the new year. And, that's why I've been taking some changes, doing some changes, and my mornings aren't as free as they used to be. But I want to make this more a weekly show. And that's also what I want to say, is this is going to be my weekly show, and instead of the daily show. And I am going to change that with an inspiration morning, because I love you all, don't get me wrong, but I kind of wanted to do the 100. I wanted to hit 100 because I was terrified. I was afraid. I wasn't having good compassion with myself. I was quite judgmental with myself, and that I didn't accept that. Yeah, it's a little hard for me to get on camera. Today it was even hard for me to get on camera, even though I knew that I had something fun and interesting to talk about. And compassion is one of those very interesting things, and that we should have with ourselves. And I still get a little tongue-tied, as you can tell, but I'm working on the compassion with myself. And I'm also working on this is live and not everything is going to go perfect. I do have what I want to say, but it's not always going to be perfect. So I'm going to make this more of a weekly show, and probably on Thursday or Fridays right about this time, because I think it gets a good time for people to come and join in, whether they may be on their lunch hour, they may be in the midday, rather than in the early mornings. I don't know if that always works, and I may do some in the mornings, but I think I will be posting it to the top of Inspiration Morning and letting you know when the next live one will be. For me, I think Fridays works really well, at least for the next few Fridays. And I'd like to know what interests you. I mean, for me, compassion today it really hit home, and I'm really glad that I picked up, because I saw in myself where I needed compassion, and I saw where I was able to give some compassion, and me in giving myself the compassion. We all need to be able to take care of ourselves. I don't know who said it. I think it was Teresa's guest, Brody Welch, last week on her Go After Your Passion Live, that said, if we don't take care of ourselves, and I know Oprah says it, if we aren't able to give to ourselves, if we aren't able to do that, then how are we supposed to be able to give it to others? And I thought, yeah, that's why compassion needs to start with ourselves, giving it to ourselves and giving it to others. So maybe they can give it to somebody else, and so on. And maybe it will be a pay it forward kind of a thing. Alrighty, so I want to say thank you. Please feel free to give me some thumbs up, give me some hearts, let me know your emotions. Please feel free to comment. Anything about how you give compassion to yourself. I really do appreciate those comments. And I know for me, compassion's not easy. But I do love Inspiration Morning, in that, we can find in the Inspiration Morning, we can find the memes to maybe give us a little bit of lift, a little bit of an inspiration, a little way to move ourselves forward, knowing that with somebody else's quote that they were able to do it too. And that's why I like the memes. People don't always like the memes, but I really do for that reason, because I can find, I do a lot of Steve Margoli quotes, and I do a lot of Eleanor Roosevelt quotes. And I don't know who I've been kind of leaning towards lately, but I do like a lot of different types of quotes, because I'm like, they went through it first. They found their way first. And I can learn from them and find that courage within myself. And I want to say Happy New Year. I am very happy you're here with me today. And for those of you who watch me in the replay, thank you too. Feel free to give me some thumbs up, give me some hearts. I really do appreciate it. And I wish you the happiest New Year. And I hope that you did have a very happy New Year. And I hope that, in going forward, your year is everything you want it to be. 2018, I really feel is going to be a fantastic year for all of us. We all put our own little work in it, then we all do really well. And I hope that my internet has been good today, because I know when I watch it to the side here, it's not completely as well as it could be. But I do want to just say thank you, and thank you for coming and watching today. And I really do hope that I see you again on my next Facebook Live. Alrighty, ta-ta for now.